I'm here in Canada with this 11-metre RV.
And I'm in Scotland with this VW Caddy micro camper.
And in this video, we're going to put these two vehicles head to head to see if space and no compromise beats stealth, freedom at low cost. This is a Coachman Encounter built on a Ford truck chassis. So it's 11.2 metres long and 2.5 metres wide. It's got a V10 engine, which is absolutely insane. And what's even crazier is it's petrol, it's not even diesel.
So with this VW Caddy, you've got sleeping capacity of about 1 to 2. MPG is around 45 miles per gallon. And the length of this Caddy is about 4.9 metres. With normal parking spaces, supermarkets, the VW Caddy will fit in it great.
Given that this vehicle is so big, we're going to start at the front, at the cockpit, and work our way back. So this is the main cab area, and it's absolutely massive. It kind of feels a little bit like the Starship Enterprise. Quite bizarre. It's not like anything that I've ever driven before. Starting off here, I mean, the seats are super comfortable. They don't lock into place, which is really strange. The driver's seat swivels, the passenger doesn't. But it's just constantly moving when you're driving along, which is actually quite comfortable. I'm not sure if it'd be considered legal in the UK. A huge big steering wheel, which you need for this vehicle because the turning circle is obviously absolutely terrible, and so you need to be able to work it round. You've got everything in front of you here. It doesn't give you as much information given the age of the vehicle as you would normally expect now. You can't find out the miles to the gallon on the dash here. It does tell you how far you've got until empty. Unfortunately, this vehicle is in miles per hour because it's built in the States. And in Canada, it's kilometres an hour, so that makes it a little bit harder when you're driving. You've also got these the twin mirrors, so you can see your blind spot. As well as that, you've got this screen here, which gives you your reversing camera, and when you put on your indicator, that then automatically switches over and goes onto the side camera, so you can see if there's anything that you can't see in your mirror, which is very helpful.
So let's show you some of the facilities that we've got. So we've obviously got a slide out bed. This is perfect for 2 people. Got loads of storage underneath the bed as well. So this runs the whole length up until the driver's seat. So there's plenty of places to put your suitcases, you know, camping chairs, all of your supplies that you would need to go on an adventure like this. Obviously the 1 hob burner, a fridge at the front there, got storage unit underneath, which has obviously got your water tank. It's perfect for really just a small sort of getaway, sightseeing up in this beautiful spot that we've found ourselves in. Yeah, the VW camper is absolutely perfect. Right guys, it's that time of the week again where we're going to be doing another giveaway for this week's video. For this week, it's going to be one of these changing robes. Now, I can't imagine Fraser would have been too happy wearing one of these in sunny Canada, but in Scotland, these went down a treat. For your chance to win, all you've got to do is you've got to drop a comment down in the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll be announcing the winner next week on our video.
Okay, opening the front slide. That's a bit bigger, that's a bit more space. This is just one of 3 slide outs. We've actually got another 2 in the rear bedroom. One that comes out that way and moves the bed over, and one that comes out that way to give you a bit more space. It's insane. So this van has auto leveling. It's got hydraulic feet that come down from underneath, and it's got a little control panel here. You need to have the engine turned on for it to work because it uses a lot of power. But yeah, you just press the auto button. It should start lowering the hydraulics, which will then touch the ground and then start picking the van up and moving it around until it's nice and level. Oh, that says level. So it's got a little green light in the middle that comes down and tells you when it's level. Moving back, we've got this comfy couch, which also pulls out to be a queen-size double bed. Behind that, we've got this nice little dinette area. It will seat 4, and we can sit and have breakfast and coffee here and stuff. You can actually lower this table as well, and it'll come down and put the cushions into the middle to make another bed. We've got a full-sized household-style kitchen here, so you've actually got a double sink with these lift-outs, which is really good because it gives you more counter space when you're not using the sinks. This is actually a marble top, which seems like madness to me to put that extra weight into the van. It's absolutely solid. You've got some handy little plugs here with some USBs in the bottom. And in here you lift these 2 out, and you've got a 3-ring gas stove here. We've got an underfloor LPG tank which fires this up. Instead of having an oven underneath it, they've gone for a convection oven, which doubles as a microwave as well. Absolutely huge. Sure does a really good job. It's not something we've used on this trip. We've mostly just used the hob. But yeah, loads of storage space, everything you'd need, and all round about the van. Loads of overhead storage as well. And here we've got this monster fridge. It's absolutely huge. We packed as much stuff into it as we could, and there's still bags of space in it. And a huge freezer compartment up the top as well. It works off the inverter, and so it only really works when you're plugged in on the mains power at the campsite. As soon as you go away, it will work for about 20 minutes, and then it stops and the inverter will start screaming at you. In the smaller vans, we would use a camper specific fridge, so it would run off the battery for much longer, whereas this is just a standard household fridge and takes a lot more power. And over here we've got our entertainment area with this massive flat screen TV. It's something we didn't think we were going to use, but it's actually been quite convenient. You can pop something on while we're busy getting dinner ready for the kids. We've got a fire below, which we definitely haven't used because it's been about 30 degrees here, but that's all electric. Probably a luxury you don't really need, but quite nice to have. And move into the habitation area. You've got 2 bunks here, probably about 6 feet long, so a little bit small for me, but they've been absolutely great for, we've had Kate and my daughter sleeping in here. Each bunk has its very own TV. They've also got a hanging rail as well, so it can double as a cupboard. You can move this top bunk up, and they've both got opening and closing windows with the very important mosquito meshes on them. Got a kind of spacious bathroom. It's a toilet that I've never used before. It's a gravity toilet. It's slightly different to the ones that we have at home. You've got a foot pedestal which is connected onto the mains water for the flush. You've got a nice vanity unit there, a couple of outlets which you don't usually have at home. And then we've got this big standalone separate shower, which is loads of room, loads of head height for me, even though it's up on this raised platform, which is kind of unusual. And then here we've got the master suite. So you've got a king size double bed, which actually lifts up to give you even more storage. Not that you'd need it, because we've got all this overhead storage over here, and then we've got a full wardrobe storage under here with drawers underneath. Given the fact that this has got 2 slide outs, the bed pulls this way, so it actually gives you enough room for a full size travel cot, which is absolutely brilliant when you've got a baby like we do. We've got sockets either side of the bed. I mean, it's bigger than some bedrooms I've had in flats I've stayed in, and it is a super comfortable bed. I'm 6'4" and there's loads of space.
Sometimes it is a tough compromise, you know, you're letting go of the space. It's all about weighing up, like, do you want the flexibility, being more mobile, or do you want the convenience? Do you want the driving around, having everything where you're sleeping, having everything with you all the time? I mean, it's a tough compromise, because sometimes I would say that having everything where you want it is a better style of camping, especially if you're going some places where you might not know the area, you might not know the landscape, and having stuff like a shower, a full kitchen supply, massive fridge freezer, some of those things probably may be a high benefit to you. But obviously we're in the Scottish Highlands, and for me personally, I would suggest that having something a bit more small, robust, maybe not having everything at your disposal, but I think that adds to that sort of adventure feel and that raw vibe of wild camping. That's kind of what we're doing right now, is just enjoying the freedom of having a smaller camper, you know? Me and my cameraman Lou now, we're just having a little moment when we're driving through these lanes now, and just saying like how lucky we are. You know, some people will go their whole lives and never experience freedom like this. You get a sense of feeling like you can do whatever you want and you're free, you feel free. But it's only really, like, I feel like when you get to somewhere where you have nothing else on your mind, nothing else matters. Right now, where I'm feeling, like with the emotions we're feeling, it's just a sense of freedom, raw emotion freedom. I tell you, just get to the Highlands, just go to the Highlands and enjoy it for yourself, because that's all you need. That's all you're thinking about. It's you in this moment right now, and that's what campervan living, that's what adventure living, that's what that will give you.
So first things first, we're going to double check that the AC works here, because otherwise it might be a bit unbearable. So this has this handy little hatch here, which I pass the cable through, and it means I can close the cupboard over without having to unplug. It's a monster hookup cable. They explained to me when we first got it that there was a 30 amp plug and a 50 amp plug, and if the campsite only had 30 amps, we'd probably only be able to run one of the AC units, and I think that's the case looking at the plug that they've got there. Please be long enough. Just. Is that? No, that is a 30 amp plug. So this one goes into here, and that one goes on. We should now have power. Inverter's on, AC is on, float charging, that's good. So let's do AC. Oh, it's going to be Arctic in here in a few minutes. So we're just going to go around the side and see if we can hook up the water. I've just found the hose. There's like a million compartments in this van, and they're all locked and double locked. So it's taken me about 10 minutes, but I've managed to find the hose. Now we're going to hook it up, and they have a thing here called City Water, I think. Let's go and see. So we've got a City Water connection. We have these little handy dropouts, so it means we can pop this down through there, and then that will allow us to shut the door and not have any critters come in, because they do have lots of raccoons here. The last thing we want is them coming in and wrecking the place, chewing up the hoses. So we will close the door and still be connected to the water. And so what this does is it bypasses the pump. So instead of taking a hose like we would do at home and filling up our onboard water tanks, we are connecting straight onto mains water, which they call City Water. And so because it's already pressurised, there's no need to add in a pump, so it'll just feed pressurised water straight into the van, and we can run it as if it's an actual built-in house. Lovely. So we are now hooked up to water and we're hooked up to power. The other thing they do here is black tanks for the toilets, but they only do that at the dumping station in the campsite, so we're not going to do that here. Some campsite places, when you pull up, you can actually hook up your sewer system, so you're not keeping any air waste on board. You just go straight into a standard sewer system, and then you're fully on grid. This is not off grid living. We don't have that facility. Okay, I think we've done everything. I don't know what some of these are for. It looks like a TV aerial. This one turns the pump on and off when you need to use it. You have an outdoor shower with hot and cold water, and a sewer tank flusher, which I don't really want to know anything about. So it's dinner time. We've got the kids sat around about the dinette. We're going to see how this kitchen performs. We've got loads of room here, so I'm going to do some salmon fillets with some asparagus. Just going to do them in butter, and we're just going to do them in this one pan because that's all that we brought with us. So there's a fair bit of space in this kitchen, and there's quite a lot of worktop space because they put covers over the double sink and covers over the hob. The only annoying thing I would say about this is when you take it off, they're quite heavy and there's nowhere really to put them. So I'm always kind of struggling to see where they go. Unless they go in there. Yes, that's where they fit. I thought that was a vent at the back for the hob. Yeah, that makes much more sense. Cooking
wise, in a VW Caddy, it's not going to be anywhere near as fancy as that beast of an RV. What we've got is quite something, basic, bacon and egg rolls. Can't really go wrong. It's an easy setup. You can put the bacon on once your bacon's cooked. Put that to the side, quickly fry your eggs. Because you've only got the one hob burner, you are limited, really, but we're gonna give it a go. I feel like this is probably the most extravagant thing you can probably cook. Yeah, we don't really have the availability to do something as extravagant as probably Fraser was cooking in his dinner video. Let's turn the gas on and get cracking. Get cracking. The temperature's dropped quite a bit now. It's obviously definitely hoodie weather right now. We've been struggling with the Scottish midges, I'm going to be honest. We got told when we were coming up to Scotland this time of year that just watch out for the midges. Silly of us, we didn't actually get any repellent on the way up here. Last night was a clear example of why you should listen to advice of experienced campers. Managed to whip that up in about 10-15 minutes or so. Obviously, this isn't a la carte dining. You're not going to be eating carbonaras and bologneses in something with this setup, but it's going to fill you up. For us today, we need to get on the road. We've got a few more spots that we want to go see, so a quick little lunch like this was exactly what we needed.
Okay, so let's talk about the vehicle driving and manoeuvrability. Yes, it's a big vehicle and it handles all right for a big vehicle, but it's a massive consideration Wherever you're going, you need to phone up before you go. Ask if there's going to be turning circles. Are you going to be able to get access, first of all? Is there low trees? Is it narrow? Will you be able to turn around? Will you be able to park? But it's something else to think about, and it's always a little bit stressful if you turn up and there's not room to park, and then you have to decide where you're going whilst on the road, especially if you don't know where you are, which most of the time when you're going campervanning you don't. Turning circle is absolutely massive on this thing, and because you've got so much overhang at the back, it swings out, and so you have to constantly pay attention to your mirrors and watch you not park too close to something, otherwise you get completely stuck if somebody was to park right up to the front of you. It's much better on the Canadian roads, and I just can't even imagine what it would be like if we took a vehicle like this to the UK.
We went up to Scotland yesterday. I'm going to be honest, I've done this route before, a bit of time ago, but I've done this route before, and we did it in a big motorhome. I'm going to be honest, I'm really thankful I'm doing this in a VW Caddy, because the narrow lanes, when you get further up, it gets narrow. You know, it gives us more options, like we can go down these sort of off-beaten tracks, and you know, that sort of just adds to the adventure when you're going up to the Highlands. So as the day was coming to an end, the VW Caddy's been a great little home on wheels. We didn't fancy a cramped late night cook up, so we headed to a proper Scottish pub, the Drovers Inn. Warm lights, creaky floors, and the kind of place that smells like whiskey, old wood, and good stories. Exactly what we needed. Even with all the space in the world, Fraser still ended up at a classic Canadian pub. Maybe it just goes to show, no matter where you are or how much room you've got, a good pub is always part of the holiday. So, two totally different vans, two totally different experiences. On one end, the spacious RV, on the other, the compact, nimble Caddy. They couldn't be further apart, and that contrast really makes you think about all the different styles that are out there. This isn't a scientific comparison, it's more about exploring the two extremes, seeing what each van has to offer, and more importantly, what really matters when you're out there exploring. Because what getting out and using these different vans teaches you more than anything is how crucial the design is. It's the little things, reliable electrics, a stress-free cooking setup, and maybe most importantly, a good night's sleep. These are the things that shape your experience day to day. So if you're in the market for a van, these are the questions you need to ask yourself. How many people do I need to sleep? What kind of electrical system do I need? Should I go for a pop top? What do I want to cook? Where do I want to travel? Do I plan to go off-road? At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer. It all comes down to what's important to you. For some people, it's about space and comfort. For others, it's the freedom, flexibility to hit the road at a moment's notice. Whatever your priorities, there will always be compromises when you're working with a space this size. That's just part of the deal. But here's the thing. Van life isn't about perfection. It's about adventure and freedom. And all that starts with finding the right camper that suits your lifestyle.